Hour number 3 on 9569. If you want to get in, 800-239-WJOX. You can text into the show, 205-834-9450. 205-834-94. Chance to really go national just yet. We've stayed mostly in the Southeastern Conference. There are some bigger games coming up this weekend that we want to talk about. Florida State's at Virginia tonight, 6 o'clock on ESPN. That's a 3-1 Virginia team with a new offense. And is it enough to really scare Florida State tonight for you, G-Mac?
I think they can score. They can't be. I do think this taking the because it really needs. And I think that Virginia is one of those teams that can be problematic.
Florida State offensively going to be a little bit too much, but that game might be a little more intriguing than some people are imagining. Last night, ECU took down Army 28-6. ECU gets a 3-2 on the season. Army just 1-3 now. Some tough sledding for Army offensively. 49 passing yards. They did rush for 241. Fumbled the ball, lost that fumble. ECU took advantage, and they rushed for 180 to get that win last night against Army. Also tonight, TCU is at Arizona State. And TCU kind of slowly creeping up here, Greg. A team with Josh Hoover back at quarterback, 3-0. I don't know what we've truly learned about them. We thought the North Carolina game might be one that was reputation on. Abilene, you're not getting anything. Solid win against SMU, but I think there's still a little bit of wonder as to, all right, TCU really good? And maybe with Arizona State, too, because that Mississippi State loss, some people just kind of thrown them out. I think there's a lot of teams that people are just pushing to the side that might end up being pretty good. Do you expect one side or the other to easily take this game tonight?
Well, no, I kind of like this. At home offensive there, though. And ball. If Arizona, then problem on their hands. It's the big ticket. If they can run it, then you're in good shape. Probably top 5, if I'm gonna be honest, especially on the downfield stuff. Like, he's excellent. So if he gets hot, look out. You got problems.
I don't think many people would push back on that one. The big game nationally is going to be a whiteout. Oregon at Penn State, number 6 at number 3. When you watch the teams on film, Greg, it feels like that ranking should be flipped. Not that rankings really mean a ton, because now we have a pretty good idea of how some of those operate, and it's not necessarily up to par. But including last year's playoff game against SMU, Penn State has won 6 straight whiteouts. This game will be at 6:30, and you look at what that means in general, the environment. You've been in it. You've seen it. What does that do to this Oregon team? But I ask that mainly with how Oregon operates and what they do and what they are. Dante Moore's been great. Not a ton of big game experience. Don't know if you feel like that's going to hurt his operation just a little bit. What does that do to Oregon in this matchup?
I think Oregon's going to have their hands full. What do you think?
More so on defense?
I think on yes. I think on defense. I think on offense they're going to be okay. I think Penn State's secondary is fine. I haven't seen enough from Penn State's pass rush to be super worried about it. I think these tackles can absolutely hold up. But I don't think Oregon is a team that is going to deal real well with getting punched in the face. I do think that Penn State's a team that can do that. However you want to interpret that, fine. But that's kind of a freewheeling outfit. And in the first sign of adversity with a young team, and a really young team, by the way, like one of the youngest teams in the sport, I think you're going to have your hands full in this one if you're Oregon. Everybody and their brother seems to think they're going to win this game. I don't see it. I think Penn State's going to get it done. Big game experience, a bit of a bruiser's mentality, a 1-2 punch at running back that will be a challenge. I think they can get it done.
Listen, I can see it. I don't know if I feel like Oregon, when I watch them, I don't feel like they're that adverse to physicality. Now, the main part of that will be, who have they seen that could really offer it up in a way that it might be offered up this weekend? But also, I haven't seen Penn State enact theirs the way in which I think they're capable of. Because I think it's in there a little bit more. You see it in spots, you see it bits and pieces, but it hasn't really been consistent. So are they an angry football team, or can they just pretend to be one every now and then? I don't think we know. And as you stated, I don't think we know if Oregon is a team that really wants to punch back. And if you're not, and you get punched in the face, and that other team feels that, and they are able to turn it on, it can get ugly, and it can be miserable for you. I think this is kind of like the narrative game for me. And that's like a narrative with Oregon as old as time. I know you're referencing more with what you've seen this year, but do they want to be a team? And we're going to probably ask this about them in the Big Ten for the next 10 years. Like, do they want to be a team that wants to play that style game?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to get into a slow down slugfest, like hang out in the corner and just trade body blows? And can you be okay with that? And if so, they'll probably hang around, maybe win this game. James Franklin, was he 4-20 against AP top 10 opponents since he's been at Penn State? Is that something that he can overcome? I mean, I was guilty. I said it before the season. I'm like, I don't know if the whole, like, James hasn't done this, James's numbers against that. Like, you get to a point where just your team's good enough to do it, or your team hasn't been good enough to do it, one or the other. I don't know if it's because the coach hasn't done it, he's just never going to be able to do it.
When has he ever, seriously though, when has he ever had comparable competition?
Like an even roster?
An even roster. Like, and look, I'm not trying to make excuses for him. Like, I'm really not. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there are aspects of my evaluation of Penn State over the years that are like, ee. You know what I mean? Like,
I thought the year that they came, I might get my years mixed up here. I think it was the year that they came to Auburn. Because I think that was Fashanu's last year. Yeah. And the interior, the defensive line was pretty good that year. I thought that was like, that may have been the team to do it. Now, I'm not saying their roster was better than Ohio State's that year or anything, but
no.
Like the one that had, but still, Drew Aller was young, so you didn't know. I mean, you couldn't really expect him to go out there and take over games. But I feel like that. And then last year was probably a little bit over reliant on one or two players at times. You know, we saw. I mean, thankfully, Danny Dennis Sutton stepped up, but when Abdul Carter went out, they were different. And Tyler Warren was just everything on offense. But you still had those backs, and felt like you should have had a quarterback to be able to do it. But, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I want badly for this game to be an indicator of super strength in either direction. But I happen to think that whatever happens in this game, it's not going to impact on my long-term team. Meanwhile, with Oregon, if they're a team that gets much better as the season goes along, I think they have firepower. But this will be by far the biggest test we've seen so far. By far.
Yep, there's no doubt. Katron Allen, 124 yards. Nick Singleton, 106 yards. Both over 100 in last year's Big Ten championship game. We know how that ended, though, on the scoreboard. So that was the first time since 2016 Oregon allowed two 100-yard rushers in the same game. I might give you $1,000 right now if you can tell me who the two players were in the team they played for that did that last.
Oof. And it's like something I have no shot.
Yeah, I don't even think you could guess the school, much less than guess the two. How about this? I'll give you the school. See if you can give me one of the players. Cal.
Marshawn Lynch.
No.
Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Jaden Ott.
No. I wouldn't have got anywhere near this. Trey Watson and Kalfini Muhammad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
That was my third guess.
K-Moo. He got it done that day. Yeah. Yeah, no, we're getting that. That's ridiculous to even think about. So, do they need to protect Dante Moore? Because I kind of agree with what Stanford Steve was saying. Like,
yeah,
I guess that's kind of just the whole team, though. I mean, what part of Penn State has exceeded expectations this year? I don't really think any of them have.
No, but I also don't. Like, this is I need to tell anybody that much about the because they're there every year. Like, do I expect them to be Three teams they play totally changed dynamic. But hey, let's again, Jim Knowles, Oregon last year when he had Ohio State and talent. I do think they can, if all of a sudden.
It's also been 132-17. They've outscored those three opponents. So it's not like they haven't handled their business. You know, these weren't 21-20 games that we're talking about.
It hasn't looked super clean, though.
That's fair.
If you watch it.
But I also say this, like I even last year, I think you and I agreed later in the year, like Andy Kotelnicki got a little cute. I'm not going to say a little cute. He got a lot cute at times. And it's like, dude, you don't need to do these things. Like, I understand maybe you're setting some stuff. You don't need to do these things. Like, I understand maybe you're setting some stuff up, but like, it got him in trouble a couple times. Like, you're trying to put a couple games away, and you're like, just hammer the nail into the coffin. Like, why are we trying to do these dude perfect tricks to end the game? Like, just end the game.
But that's who he is.
I know, but he hasn't been that this year, and I kind of appreciate that. Like, there hasn't been too much of that, is what I'm saying.
But could it come back in a game like this?
Oh, no, this is the week he brings it out. And so, but I almost think that it helps him make it more strategic instead of just saying, hey, we're going to do this at some point for no reason.
Right.
Right. It shows me there's a little bit of growth on his part as to say, I'm not going to come out. It shows me there's a little bit of growth on his part as to say, I'm not going to come out here and try to make sports in our top 10. Like, I'll do it when the mood is right and when the look is right and I'll do it when the mood is right and when the look is right and when the field position is right, instead of just saying third possession, triple reverse to Liberty pass to the left guard. You know, like it's I feel like
unbalanced swinging gate throwback to the tight end
for a punt. Like, I mean,
yeah, a punt on second down.
Exactly. So I do think some of that is working for him in this game, especially if you're Oregon here, because you know it's coming.
Yeah.
You know it's coming. So, yeah.
For sure.
I think that's a positive. All right.
I do. Oregon's athleticism and speed is a real issue to keep up with. I do. I think they're a handful in this game. Like, if kind of let it come to them a bit. Is that possible, you think?
I do. Yeah.
You almost have to, right? I mean, you almost have to. You don't want to give up a cheap one because if you look at statistically speaking, you watch Penn State's run game or whatnot, like they're averaging right now 2 yards before contact per carry, which is, I mean, if you watch the tape, like you've seen it, like how often are they getting their running backs at the second level untouched? Never.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've seen it more than 2 or 3 times this year, which is kind of alarming considering the level of competition. But also at the same time, like, you know how they get to the second level without having to move guys? By you playing your way out of a spot or out of a hole or out of a gap. Like that, I think, is something I'd be real worried about too. So I think Oregon will play it a little bit closer to the vest, a little more conservative, and that's on the defensive side. And we'll kind of anchor down a little more than they have up to this point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, anchor down with good prices, GMAC.
Yeah, because they have 50,000 square feet of Core-Tec by Shaw in stock right now. And if you go and take a peek at it, the Core-Tec, 50,000 square feet is because of that excessive inventory, they're able to give you incredible prices, like 20 to 40% savings. Guys at Shannara Flooring. Go and check them out by going to fooandyou.com. This there, it's built to last and priced to move, and it's durable to your home or business. So call Foo today. When you call Foo at Shannara Flooring, 205-518-6423, or go online to fooandyou.com.
All right, when we come back into the SEC again to talk more college football next.
McElroy, Cubelic in the morning, 9:19. Birmingham, Alabama. I am from Oxford, Mississippi. Getting ready to meet with Lane Kiffin here in about 2 hours. Look forward to talking with him and the rest of the Rebel staff as they get ready to take on the LSU Tigers. Met with Brian Kelly yesterday. Should be an awesome game and one that I think everyone in the college football world is looking forward to. I am curious in that one, and we have not had a ton of opportunities to break it down just yet. We've spent quite a bit of time on Auburn, Texas A&M, Bama, Georgia. We will continue to work on both those matchups as we break them down in the next half hour, 31 minutes or so before we get to our Super Sofa games of the weekend. But there's just so much intrigue, I feel like, in the matchups this weekend. But let's get to the LSU and Ole Miss game now. And I'll tell you this. The big thing here that I am really intrigued by is whether or not LSU, the old question of can't versus haven't. Can't versus haven't is very, very difficult thing to assess. So far, LSU's offense hasn't been dynamic, right? They haven't been. They thought there was progress made last week. The vertical passing game clearly is back a little bit more. Probably going to be a point of emphasis moving forward, I would think, considering what they were last year. If you look at the numbers, Garrett Nussmeier last year averaged about 311 yards through the air a game. If you look at this year, he's about 240. Now, you're telling me that Garrett Nussmeier can't move the ball through the air, or he hasn't moved the ball through the air? I think he can. We saw it last year. Now, new crew of wide receivers, new offensive line. Still going to be a team that's probably never going to be a super elite rushing attack just with where they've built this roster. But can they be a little more efficient against an Ole Miss team that defensively has not been as good? But if you watched last week's performance against a Tulane team that I got a lot of respect for, there was some progress made there. I think this defense is a little thin. And I think this defense at Ole Miss is a little bit the victim of their own success. They were so good last year. So good last year. I mean, elite. I mean, like truly an elite defense last year from a personnel standpoint. So they didn't do that much. They were kind of like, all right, we'll just play pretty simple coverages. We'll kind of stay in our lanes defensively, and we'll kind of just let our players play. Well, this year they're having to do a little more. Why is that? Because they're probably trying to mask some of the personnel challenges that they have in certain spots and the lack of depth that they have in certain spots. So how do you neutralize what might be a slightly less advantaged team from a talent standpoint? You try to create confusion. You kind of try to create deception. And I think they have a chance to continue on with that as the season goes along. Now, will it work against a fifth-year quarterback? I don't know. Nussmeier has at times in the past thrown picks. He has at times in the past taken chances. He has at times in the past made mistakes. Will he do it in this game, or will he kind of let the game come to him? We'll see. The other side of the coin is LSU's defense, guys. I really believe this. I think that's an elite unit. What makes them different this year is their secondary. If you look at them last year, they had pretty disruptive guys up front. Like, they had good players on the edges. They had quality linebackers. The numbers statistically wouldn't necessarily bear that out because they got gashed a couple times in quarterback run. The Bama game comes to mind. They got crushed a few times in that category. But they've made some adjustments. They've made some tweaks with that. And if you look at how they played against Vandy, how they played against Oklahoma, teams that ran the ball down the stretch last year, like, they were a lot better against quarterback run as the season went along because they made some tweaks after that Bama game. So how was that factor in here? Because Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback for Ole Miss, assuming he's the starter, they've said he's going to, or they haven't publicly said that, but that's the reports right now. That's probably what I'd assume too. Quarterback run is a big part of this offense. And quarterback run in the first 6, 7, 8 games of the year last year crushed LSU. Lenore Sellers did. Jalen Milroe did. But have the adjustments they've made in the final 4 games of the season, will those now carry over into this year's plan? That'll be something worth watching. And then finally, the pass pro for Ole Miss has never been a strength. The offensive line for Ole Miss in Lane's tenure has been the furthest thing from a strength. Like, for as good as they've been at wide receiver, for as good as they've been at quarterback, the couple years they had Quinshon Judkins, for as good as they were at running back, they've had the skill, but they have not often had the game changers on the offensive line. And this might be a game where that could get exposed. This is a really tenacious group. They blitz 40+% of the time. This LSU unit will bring heat from everywhere. Corners, linebackers, nickels, safeties. They'll blitz anytime they want. Doesn't really matter. They don't care. There's no rhyme or reason sometimes for why they blitz. They just want to. It's fun to watch. As a defense and as a former quarterback, it makes me pretty stressed out because on every single snap, I got to be real aware of where their hot players are. So here's the thing. Is this the week that LSU's offense gets going? Or is LSU's offense just what they are through the first 3 or 4 games of the year? A ball control unit that wants to kind of get guys in space and that kind of wants to control the field position and that kind of wants to be a little bit more methodical as opposed to the group last year that wanted to air it out all over the yard. That's a huge question in the game. So I look forward to it. That game's 2:30 Central Time on ABC. We've gotten into this one a little bit on ABC as well. This one will be on CBS. This one's at 2:30 as well. I'm just telling you, Ohio State needs to be careful. Here's the problem with that matchup is Washington is a man defense. They're all man. Like that's the backbone of what Ryan Walters, their defensive coordinator, wants to do. He wants to play man, and they have 6'4" corners, and they like their corners. However, one of those corners is questionable, Tacario Davis. If Tacario Davis can't go, that's a huge problem. Because why? Well, I don't need to tell a whole lot of people this that are listening to our show because they're probably pretty dialed into college football. Ohio State has ridiculous good personnel at wide receiver. If Ryan Walters plays man all day, they're going to get torched. They are. Now, if he can mix in some zone, you got a shot. But if he sticks true to what he's done in the past, especially if Tacario Davis can't go, you got some issues. So expect a lot of points up there. I actually think Washington can score. I think their quarterback, DeMond Williams, the best player you probably haven't watched in college football. Remember last year, earlier in the summer, we're like, hey, this Mateer guy can go. I'm just telling you. And you said, I don't know. He's up there in Pullman. How good can he be? How good's the personnel? I'm just telling you, this kid, DeMond Williams, is a bona fide stud. And he can absolutely carve you up if you let him. So be careful if you're trying to back the Buckeyes in this one. Be careful. I'm not saying Washington can win the thing outright because I don't know if they have enough defense to do it. But I do think that DeMond Williams, Cole, can create enough problems against that Ohio State pass rush to make things very difficult for the Buckeyes.
And they haven't really cut him loose yet. I mean, 50 of 68, which is 74%, by the way. 778 yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks. And this is not an offense that's going to force the – they're fine running the football. They're definitely West Coast-ish, take what the defense gives you type of a group. That's what they want to be. Balance is going to be critical. But like you said, when he needs to get going, he has the capabilities to be able to do that. I'm a little more concerned with what the Washington defense is going to be able to do
completely
to Ohio State's offense. And, we haven't really seen Julian Sayin in that spot yet. You could say the Texas game, but how much was he really asked to do, specifically late in that game? Yeah, so I want to see if in some pressure situations – we heard Stanford Steve talking about Husky Stadium. I've heard stories about it. I've not been to a game there, but I've been to the stadium. It's a really cool place, great layout. And you can imagine with how it's structured, the noise just stays in there. So that's going to be another test. He hasn't really had a test like that. I think it's an intriguing game, and I'm with you on the be careful. I don't know if I'm ready to pull the trigger and say Washington gets this game, but if I look up 17-14, early fourth, would not be surprised at all.
I think it's got a chance to be very competitive. I would be surprised if DeMond Williams doesn't make a couple plays in this game, a couple throws in this game, and you're like, whoa. And all of a sudden, this game's a fourth quarter fight, and all of a sudden the pressure gets put on Julian Sand in that offense for the Buckeyes. I would not be surprised if that's the case.
Yep. I'd probably be with you there. I think it's going to be a fun game. This is going to just be another part of a fun day, a massive day of college football. Continue discussing, and we'll talk to Brian Haydad about it, who covers Mississippi State. Can the Bulldogs hang? We'll give you that next right here on Jocks. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 9 here on Jocks. The end of summer savings event is on at Royal Buick GMC. GMC Sierra 1500 SLT Premium Plus with sunroof, 6.2-liter engine. List price $70,559, reduced to $55,559. That's a savings of $15,000. Check out the newly redesigned 2025 GMC Acadia. It lists $45,140, but now marked down to $42,140. Great price for 3 rows of premium luxury. All offers are valid through September 30th, 2025. Save money, upgrade your ride at Royal Buick GMC, home of the $75 dock fee. The end of summer savings event is on at Royal Buick GMC through September 30th, 2025. Royal Buick T at the corner of I-65 and Highway 31 of Vestavia. Online at royalbuickgmc.net. Remember, for every ride, there's Royal. Brian Haydad joining us now, the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I don't think there are a lot of folks that are going to ask the question about this game that we are. That is physically, how does Mississippi State match up, Brian? A lot of backs, receivers, passing yards, how the formations are going to be spread out, maybe the tempo. But physically, would be my biggest concern for State. How do they find a way to do it, in your opinion?
You know, a year ago, that question would have been really, really bad. Scrimmage, Mississippi position. Tennessee line of scrimmage, but it's a season played better there. Offensive line out. Different start in that group, just nagging and finally get a little bit of versus Tennessee's defense. I think Tennessee is going to Ball State's defense some time to throw it vulnerable, and that's
Ken.
Blake Shapen to show the quarterback team. He has to be good statistically. He has to make good decisions. He has to limit the negative plays. And when he has the opportunity to take the shots down the field, he has to connect on them. If State is not good everywhere else to overcome bad quarterback play. So if Shapen's not at his best on Saturday, I don't know that State can win. But if I can get the best of Blake Shapen, I think State has a chance to pull off an upset.
I think they're gonna be all right. I do. I do worry though, with what I watched in the second half against Arizona State. I do worry about stopping the run, and how Arizona State was basically able to eliminate a 17-point deficit just by running the football. That is yikes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and part of that though is on State's offense in the second half. They could not get anything going. They were getting off the field way too easily. And so State's defense was just on the field the entire second half, and it just wore them down at that point. But State has got to find a way, and that's 2 years in a row against Arizona State, that even as much success as Arizona State had running the football, State's offense just wasn't good enough in that game, and they had to pull out that big play there at the end to get the win. But State needs to be a little bit better offensively. Where they are defensively right now is good enough, because it's just such a massive improvement from last season. But they need Shapen. They need that offense just be a little bit more consistent, move the chains just a little bit more. The big plays have been there all year. State's great at making explosive plays. They need to be a little bit more consistent on the third and short. Maybe that's going to be where Camario Taylor can help them. But that for me right now is my concern coming into this game. Because I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, and does State have the firepower to stay in it?
I don't think that'd be an issue for anybody. And you mentioned Blake Shapen, but I think he goes as the run game goes. And a lot of people don't look at it that way, don't see it that way, because you got the quick pass outlets, you got the shot plays. He can run the football, but I feel like this group of running backs has a better knack of just getting downhill faster. When they get the quick runs going that really get their head of steam going towards the end zone quickly, they've had success with that. Have you heard much from Lebby, this offensive staff, about specifically those type of runs continuing to need to go, or being more important maybe against this Tennessee defense?
Absolutely, and both Lebby and Heupel will tell you their offenses, they want to run the football. They're run-first coaches. And Bothwell, Devon Booth, you saw a little bit of Xavier Gayton last week, and I think he's the guy who's maybe trying to force his way into that rotation a little bit more. He gives State a little more bounce and a little more explosiveness than those other two guys do. State is going to have to be able to run the football, and I agree. You know it as well. It's just football. When you run the ball successfully, it makes it easier to pass the ball successfully. So those guys do need to show up. State's offensive line needs to show up. It's going to take everything, man. This is a really good Tennessee football team coming into Starkville. State's got a lot of momentum. Obviously, it's going to be a big, hostile crowd, but that only take you so far. You've got to execute. And I think if you watch State this year, I think Lebby would tell you the same, that they've had some moments where they could have really gotten off the field or gotten big plays. They've just missed a pass here, missed a block here. So it's just the little things they got to correct. and be good at this weekend if they want to win.
Does the familiarity in offensive scheme, does that help State at all in this one? I know I feel like I'm kind of grasping there, but I think it could,
Yeah.
just because you don't.
Well,
You can simulate the tempo, you can simulate the looks in practice better than most.
yeah, and I asked Isaac Smith about that when we talked to him earlier this week, and he said, yeah, when you look at them on film, there's a lot of familiarity of what we see in the preseason when we're just going ones versus ones. So I think that helps. The problem is, Greg, it's the same on the other side, right? That Heupel and Levy, they know each other really well. It might be the coach who has to pull something out of the hat that the other guy hasn't seen that makes a big play in this game that could be a difference maker. So I don't know what Levy's got schemed up. I don't know what Heupel has schemed up, but that might be something to look at, that, you know, they're in a formation where normally they do this, but now they're going to do this and try to catch somebody off guard.
Absolutely. The corners for Tennessee have been a big talking point, and we know they're dinged up there. We know they're beat up there, but I thought last time we saw Tennessee play defense that they'd go out of their way to support those corners, help those corners, and that wasn't really the case. What has the discussion been this week about the ability or maybe the desire to attack that position specifically from Jeff Lebby and his group?
Well, that's what State's been really successful at this year is these deep balls down the field. I think between Anthony Evans and Brennan Thompson, they have 5 or 6 touchdowns between them of 40-plus yards. Seydou Traore has a 40-plus yard touchdown. Jordan Mosley has a 75-yard touchdown. State has been a big play machine, especially in the passing game, and I think State will attack that as best they can. I think this is going to be a game from an announcer's perspective. It's going to be exciting. I think you're going to see these teams take deep shots down the field. State's corners have been good, but who have they played? They did a decent job against Jordan Tyson, but I think both Tennessee and Mississippi State in this game are going to take those deep shots, and whoever connects on the most might win. But State is definitely going to attack that if they can protect Chapin, because Thompson and Evans, with their speed, they're very hard to cover down the field.
Brian, we appreciate the time, man. Great stuff as always. Thanks for hopping on.
Hey,
go ahead.
Real quick, Greg, I just want to let you know I saw on an Ole Miss message board that they hate you because you hate Ole Miss so much. So Cole and I just want to welcome you to the club of we have been talked bad about on Ole Miss message boards. Congratulations! It's quite a distinguishment.
That's big. I really I've always thought to myself, if I can just appeal to the message board crowd, then I'm in great shape. There'll be millions upon millions watching, and something tells me that a very small percentage of that audience is posting actively on message boards. So haven't cared too much about what people have to say on there in the past, and don't intend on starting now.
Good man.
I don't believe
You're a good
that.
man for that.
I think he's bothered by it.
Definitely.
Well, he's a quarterback, so he's always got a little bit of that ego going there.
Yeah.
Nah.
I'm surprised that those folks hate somebody that's in broadcasting. I couldn't. Who'd have thunk it?
Cole, you know how it is.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Brian. Always appreciate the time.
Guys.
Brian Haydad
Anytime,
hopping on the Higginbotham hotline with us, talking Tennessee, Mississippi State. We'll hit that one just a little bit more. Others to get a bad box score of the day. Before we move to that, Greg, tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Services.
Well, they're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. Whether your whole home packed up and moved, you need your whole home moved across the country, they got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's crockermovingservices.com. That's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Service for your next move.
All right, we'll get to that break. Come back. Super Sofa Game of the Week and a bad box score next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It is 9:48, Friday, September 26th, right here on Jocks. We're going to continue talking some college football. First, I'm going to tell you about Game Day Men's Health. Game Day Men's Health, if you're feeling on edge, if you're lacking sleep, lacking energy, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you today. It's easy. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com and get the free consultation, free PSA test, free testosterone test from Game Day Men's Health. That's going to give you a baseline of where your health is. Then they're going to tell you the different ways that they can help you. Weight loss programs, testosterone replacement, peptides, all in stock at Game Day Men's Health. And they're going to help you pick out what can do the best for you over time and get you back to feeling great. Mention Mac and Cube, save 10% on any service that they offer. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today, now open in Trustville. Quickly give you guys a bad box score of the day before we move into our TD's Fine Furniture Super Sofa Game of the Week. The William Woods College
Warriors.
Pioneers.
Wildcats.
They're the Owls.
Okay, that makes sense.
They took on the St. Ambrose
Patriots.
Argonauts.
Privateers.
No. What was the guess?
Privateers.
I said Argonauts.
I can't hear Greg, so sorry.
He said the Argonauts.
Argonauts? No, not the Argonauts. They are the Fighting Bees.
Ooh, I like
that's
that.
different.
Not
It's
even a
new.
hornet, like a
I
bumblebee.
haven't had that before. Well, it didn't go so great for the Fighting Bees. As the Fighting Bees, it did go great for. They took the game 82-5.
Oh, okay.
The Owls got 2 in the second and 3 in the fourth.
Okay, so they scored more in the second half.
Technically, their coach is good.
He is.
Your
That's all-
total
that's all it
offensive
takes.
differential 625 to 202.
Triple up.
So pretty good day passing for the Owls with 156 yards, just 289 for St. Ambrose, which means, they ran for 336.
Okay.
Also
Not bad.
means that William Woods ran for 46 yards on 23 carries.
Tough day on the ground.
St. Ambrose didn't punt in the game. They did have 8 penalties and only 1 sack, which I guess if you don't really throw the ball that much, you're not going to get a lot of sacks.
So it wasn't the cleanest game.
No.
It wasn't the cleanest.
Not
A
the
lot of
cleanest.
safety.
Right. Yeah, they gave up. Yeah.
Trey Jenkins went 17 carries, 155 yards. Zaire Wilcox, 15 for 95, and Jaden Price, 3 for 57. So it was a decent day rushing, 4 rushing touchdowns. Alec Ponder, 13 of 18, 226 yards passing, 5 touchdowns.
Okay, that's Christian's
Have a
nephew,
day.
isn't it?
I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe his
That's
son.
Ellis's niece.
Got it. Niece.
Ellis Ponder.
Got it. Caleb Swanson came in, went 4 for 5.
what?
63 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns for St. Ambrose.
Oh, Ron's godson. Cool.
There we go.
That was it. Dansby's kid. That's him. All right, so that's your bad box score of the day. Let's get to our Super Sofa Game of the Week, brought to you by TD's Fine Furniture. It is the one game that you get to pick. If you only had one to watch, G-Mac, what would your Super Sofa Game of the Week be?
Well, I'll take it since I get to go first up. It's Alabama at Georgia.
Homer. Ugh.
I don't even
figures.
care. Dating back to what? 2014.
18-12.
2014, these two teams have combined to win every SEC championship. It's one of the great games in college football, and it will be again this weekend. That's 6:30 Central Time on ABC.
Damien?
I'm going early in the morning. 11 a.m. Notre Dame and Arkansas. Can Arkansas get back on the winning side of things? ABC. Right after college game day, give me Arkansas and Notre Dame as my TD's Fine Furniture Super Sofa Game of the weekend.
Well, you could have gone earlier on Sunday and gone for an 8:30 kick, Minnesota.
No.
Not necessarily at Pittsburgh from, is it Croke Park? Croquet Park? Croquet Park. Croc Park in
Croke.
Dublin.
Croak Pock.
That one too. Yeah. But you didn't.
Nah, I ain't trying to watch Aaron Rodgers that early in the morning.
Wow.
Wow.
John?
Honestly, he probably doesn't believe in the time change and difference.
Hate.
I could easily take Oregon Penn State, but I don't need to watch that one because I know Oregon's going to demolish them.
There we go.
So I will take.
Wow.
I'll take Greg's game. LSU taking on Ole Miss, a battle of undefeated teams, 2:30 ABC. That's going to be a fun matchup, and I know I could enjoy that matchup on my own super sofa at the house. And you can find your super sofa or furniture for the entire home at TD's Fine Furniture. The store is the size of 2 football fields, so there's plenty to choose from at TD's Fine Furniture in Summerton.
Passed up by many, but I'll give you my Super Sofa game of the week, found on the internet somewhere, maybe even Facebook, being broadcast probably tonight, 7 p.m., Waldrop Stadium, Mountain Brook at Homewood.
What?
Ooh.
Battle of the hosts. Greg's 42nd adopted town that he grew up in versus my hometown.
Let's go.
The school that I actually played for, not the one I pretend to really like now. 7 p.m. at the Drop, Homewood, Mountain Brook. My Super Sofa game of the week.
At the Drop.
Go Pats.
Let's go. What do y'all say over there, G-Max? Spartan up or?
Don't know for sure.
Gotcha.
But not important. We're going to win. Some of us are going pro in something other than sports at Mountain Brook. And that game, like you said,
Wow.
at the Drop, feel very good about it.
It's huge. It's a big one.
It's a huge one.
Rivalry game for a lot of reasons. A lot of hatred there, mainly because of taxes.
Go Brook. And is that what they say? Go Brook.
Go Brook.
Whatever they say. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't say it. I hate green.
We've won 5 straight in the series.
Hate
so
the Jets.
it seems like
hate
it's a
the
bit of a
Eagles.
one. It feels like it's a bit of a one-sided
Money.
rivalry.
Hate North
with-
Texas.
Can't stand
Yep.
them.
Hate Mountain Brook. Hate everything green. Celtics.
I'd hate us too.
What's a
if I
green
were you.
hockey team? I don't even know.
Stars.
Hate
Stars.
them
Oh,
too. There
can't
you go.
stand
Yeah,
them.
my other home team. I hate whatever your high school was. The Dragons, Sea
yeah.
Dragons,
Yeah.
Dirt
Yeah.
Dragons, Land Dragons, whatever they
There
are.
Dragons out there.
Hate them.
They're just dragons.
Probably don't even have green. I hate Puff the Magic Dragon because he's green.
He's purple.
I hate all green. Specifically, I hate T-Rexes.
AC Green.